My name is Daniel Lopez. I'm an MBA student also at INSEAD, and I've been interacting with some of you in the past weeks. It's my pleasure, first of all, to introduce you to our keynote session and launch of the INSEAD BTA case, the next 100 years of Suzano. Following our examples on cosmetics, chocolates, and critical minerals, we'll now deep dive in the case of the largest pulp manufacturer globally and one of Latin America's major paper producers, with significant contributions to the sustainability discussions of the sector. Please welcome, with a round of applause, Walter Schalka, CEO of Suzano, and Felipe Monteiro, Professor of Strategy at INSEAD. Thank you a lot.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. And maybe let me start with a couple of acknowledgements. I mean, the first one is just to congratulate the students team behind this. I still remember a few months back, they came to my office with just an idea. We should do something. And then from there to now, in that magic time that you alluded to, they put this together. Second, I mean, let me thank Walter, Marcel, the whole Suzano team for really opening up Suzano for us to study. I still remember when my co-author, Betania Tanuri, talked to me, maybe a year back, saying, Felipe, how committed INSEAD is to kind of writing and documenting what companies are doing in terms of building sustainable models. And she said, no, we need to write a case about Suzano. And here we are. So you have the case, so it is in the program there. I think there's also a QR code. But Walter, maybe just to start our conversation, for those who are, we heard about cocoa, about lithium. For those who are not familiar with pulp and paper, what is really this business? What do you do? What's that complex value chain you have?
Felipe and colleagues, thank you very much for being here. Bonjour. I would like to thank you very much for the Brazilian Summit to be with you. I'd like to INSEAD to allow us to be here. Betania, thank you very much for the opportunity to be here. It's a great pleasure to discuss about Suzano. I'm feeling like a Shark Tank here. After we discuss Natura, Dengo, lithium, Sigma lithium, we are going to discuss about Suzano. But it's very nice to hear that we are seeing a lot of companies doing the right thing in Brazil. And it's very good to hear about that. I would like to bring to your attention about Suzano. It's a completely different company. It's a very easy business model. How you operate? We go for degraded pasture land. We go over there, we buy or lease land. With that specific area, we plant eucalyptus trees. After 7 years, we harvest that eucalyptus trees, and from that specific trees, we transform and we replace other materials, or long fiber coming from pinus or plastics. This is what we do every single day. We are planting right now, guys, 1.2 million trees every single day. I'm going to repeat, 1.2 million trees every single day. And we have been growing at a very fast pace on many years. With these products, what we are doing, reaching 2 billion people every single month. 2 billion people with our products around the globe. We have 30% market share on the tissue markets in US, 30% market share in Europe, and 40% market share in China. We represent 31% of the total global fiber in the world with this business model. But we are not only addressing on the economic side that we have been growing and producing a lot of results. The company right now has a total market cap of $15 billion. But in addition to that, we have been tackling two other things. First is the environmental issue. We are on the right side of the equation. We are negative on carbon. We are the few companies in the world that is carbon negative. In addition to that, we have been working to replace fossil materials. Probably when you are seeing on your daily life products that could be used with plastics would be replaced by fiber. Give an example to you on your textile, on your clothes. When you see viscose, viscose is coming from the trees. And we are doing a lot of things on different verticals to replace materials. The other thing that is quite important is the social impact on that. We are addressing how we are going to take 200,000 people out of poverty in Brazil, not with philanthropy, but with sustainable income. The combination of finding ways to create sustainable income for the communities where we are located, the issue how we operate in terms of business development, and the issue that we address, the environmental issues, is the base what we heard about innovability. Felipe have been working on this. There is a combination between innovation and sustainability. The company is always trying to change and transform things from the past. We were the first companies that started working with short fiber that is coming from eucalyptus on the paper. And now 100% on the world market for printing and writing is short fiber. More than 60% of the tissue market is short fiber. Now we are moving the fluff market that is going from feminine pads and diapers to short fiber. We are moving the textile market for short fiber. Several different initiatives that we are doing, and biofuels on the future would be based on the trees as well, since we have lignin on the structure of the tree. And sustainability. We believe that we can transform the society. We have been working on different dimensions. We believe that we need to recuperate degraded land with native forest. We do have right now 1.7 million hectares of planted areas in Brazil for trees. But in addition to that, we have 1.1 million hectares of native forest that we are preserving. This is the total of 2.8 million hectares. It's roughly 70% of the size of Switzerland that we have in Brazil, that we are working on different dimensions. I think this is the general overview, Felipe. What is Suzano today?
Thank you, Walter. You know, I think we heard Mr. Teixeira saying, I mean, the private sector has to be engaged on this, right? And she was looking at you, Schalka. And I think one of the privileges of an academic is to be able to have a deep dive in companies, right, and try to understand puzzles. And I think one puzzle that I start kind of when we're looking at your company was, okay, I understand how you can be very sustainable, but then maybe this is going to be high cost. And they said, no, Felipe, we are the most cost efficient. So, I mean, how do you deal with that duality, right? You have to be super cost efficient, super productive, at the same time sustainable. So what is the secret sauce there?
We are in the commodity business, the same as the lithium that you saw before. Our prices are going up and down. What we need to do it right now is that the way that we need to preserve our long-term stability, and we are armored against our volatility in prices, are our cost. We are the lowest cash cost in the world. Just to give you some examples to you, this is a public number that I can share with you. We're a public company trading in São Paulo, New York Stock Exchange. Our average cash cost is around $170 per ton. The average cash cost of the Scandinavian companies, Canadian companies, and Chinese companies, they are $550 per ton. Our cash cost is $170. In few weeks from now, we are going to have a new plant. There is the largest private investment in Brazil at this point of time. It's called Projeto Cerrado. It's a new plant of 2.5 million tons that we are going to start end of June, few weeks from now, that we invest $4.4 billion on that. The cash cost of this plant is going to be $100, 100. There is going to be even lower than the average cash cost that we have today. This is the way that we are preserving the future. How we are doing this? We are going to reduce the average distance from the forest to the plant. We invest on state-of-the-art plants for the future. We have zero carbon emissions on our operations, zero fossil materials. We are going to gasification of trees to produce that. How we are going to do it on the logistics side? We have terminals in Brazil. We are reaching 100 different countries in the world with our products. We are doing a lot of things that is going to reduce the total cost of supply chain. This is an obsession of the company. Cost is the way that we are armored against price volatility.
Thank you, Walter. And hello, people hearing you must be impressed how he has all those figures on top of his head. And then you may say, okay, well, this is a company that you only have, finance people, very hard. But then, when we start talking to you and your team and say, wow, there was also a big kind of cultural transformation there, right? And I think you have this renewing life inspired by trees. So how, what is this soft part of the story?
Was very interesting history. When we merged Suzano and Fibria 5 years ago, a little bit more than 5 years ago, we asked for the help of Betania to discuss about our future culture. And we decided that we are going to have 3 different pillars on our culture. First is people that inspire and transform. We want people that is not only setting the bar very high, but people that do it. We do not like to have nice words on the walls just to have nice presentations. We'd like to use as an action. Action mode is part of our culture. The second issue that is quite important, it's not very easy, guys, to discuss, is how we create and we share value with all stakeholders. This is the art of management, because creating value is very important. How we are going to share value with everyone, with the team members, with the communities, suppliers, customers, investors, creditors. You need a lot of people that you need to share value. And we are doing this. And if you have this very balanced situation, we are creating value for everyone. And the third issue that we have when we decide to do it, and this is something very unusual, it's only good for us if it's good for the world. We believe that we need to do something that will impact the society. Not only we want to transform the society, not addressing problems such as climate change, but addressing problems of inequalities that we have in the society. How we are going to address diversity in the society on the right way. We have been working on all of these dimensions, and we are humble enough to understand that this is a journey. Then we believe that we do not have a culture, we have a culture journey. It's something that we are addressing every single day, we are improving every single day. And this was a very difficult decision, because when we merged Suzano and Fibria, Suzano was much more strength, Fibria was much more kind. And we want to combine these 2 things, how we have strength and kindness together. And I think this is the journey for the future.
Thank you, Walter. And I think it's fascinating, right, for those of us who study organizations, is to see that ability to combine things that don't seem easy to combine, right? So it may seem paradoxical. How do you can be strong and kind? How can you be sustainable and cost efficient, right? And I think you're being able to do this. Another combination, right, and I still remember that day, Walter, that you very graciously come to one of my classes in Brazil, because he had a slide there called Suzano is Innovability. And that was very close to me, because I've been working with kind of the Italian electricity company called Enel, right? And they created, and they said, Walter, what a coincidence, you also use innovability. And then said, no, it's not a coincidence. I was at the UN, and I met with Ernesto Chiorro, was right? And we talked about this. So it's a kind of nice combination, innovability, innovation for sustainability. Can you help, kind of, as Mr. Teixeira was saying before, can you help us land what is this idea of innovation for sustainability?
Well, first of all, I think we need to transform the society. We only can, because a lot of people are setting goals, say, I'm going to be net zero on 2050, 2030, 20-something. We need to do something now. The call to action that we need to have on climate change is that we cannot postpone these discussions. We need to address the problems that we have right now. We need to decrease emissions in the world. We need to increase the capture carbon with different, mainly with native forest. And I think the initiatives that we have here, like biomas or regreen, they are very important to do it, because this is going to help how we are going to save carbon for the future. On the other hand, Suzano have been working to replace materials. And we have been doing this with innovation every single day. This is part of our daily life. How we can transform products for the future. How we can decrease the total emission on the systems. On the other hand, it's very important that we are in the world that sustainable solutions are critical for everyone. The combination of those, innovation and sustainability, that create this mantra of innovability at the company.
Thank you, Walter. And I think you gave very impressive numbers in terms of the main business, pulp and paper, your market shares worldwide. I think one of the elements we tried to cover in the case was also there are some new business, and you quickly alluded to them. Textiles, lignin. Can you shed some light on this? What are those potential new businesses that you are maybe building for the future?
From the tree today, we take two things. Fiber in one side. The fiber will be transformed into pulp, then into paper or other applications such as fluff market and other things. But we can have the lignin that today is transforming energy. I don't know if you are aware or not, but we are exporting green energy to the grid. We produce energy with the tree. We use part of the energy on our operations. The excess of energy we are selling to the grid. And this is very positive because this is a renewable energy. But this is part of the way that renewing life based on trees is what we have today. On the future, we can use the same lignin because it's a carbon system completely equal to the fossil materials to replace fossil to have biofuels, to have SAF with that. We can use the fiber to use to other applications to replace plastics. And then we are doing all the time using the same tree that we are planting every day to different applications. This, we believe, that is going to be in our future. We are entering on the textile market. We have an operations in Finland right now to produce fiber for textile market to replace polyester. We are using right now lignin to replace other materials. We have operations in Brazil to do it. We are all the time looking how we can use the tree on different applications for the future. This is innovation, this is sustainability, this is going to replace other materials.
Thank you, Walter. And maybe, if you allow me to, my last question to you is from a more personal nature. So, as some of you may know, right, Walter very soon will be stepping out as the CEO and joining the board. So, and in any case, also, right, the case have the story about the company, but also who is, right, the protagonist of the case, the leader in the case. So my last question to you is more on, actually two questions. First, how do you feel at this moment, right? We have a trajectory at Suzano, we look back, past 10 years. The title of the case is the next 100 years. So this year is a historical year for Suzano, right? 100 anniversary, and you build in the next 100. How do you feel at this moment that you're kind of giving the job to your successor as the CEO and you stay on the board? But also, what was your main advice to him?
Well, first of all, I think this is the companies and people, we are recycling. We need to transform. This is something. We are seeing a new generation of leaders here. We hope that you have a very nice career. Suzano will provide opportunities for everyone. Suzano will look for the future. We people, we are not looking backwards. We are looking forward all the time. We are a 100 years startup. We do not want to see our legacy and things like that to be advertising what we have been doing. We'd like to see how we can keep transforming the company and the people, how we can look forward and transform the society, how we can address the main challenges that we have today. And I think we have a very solid foundation. We are very well established. We are very solid balance sheet. We have very long-term debt, very low cost debt. We are providing a very good total shareholder equity return to our shareholders. Sorry, we have been working on different dimensions, on the innovation, on sustainability, on environmental impact, how we can transform the communities where we are located. But we need to address society problems. We need to see how we can transform this world. And Suzano is highly committed with that. We believe that the only way that the future companies are going to succeed is that we work on different dimensions. And we have been working with that for several decades. It's not related with the period where I am a CEO of the company. Several decades that this family, that is a reference shareholder of the company, have been working to transform the society. We believe that we are a startup for 100 years now, and we will continue to do this transformation in the society.
What was your advice to him?
Advice to him, keep transforming, keep moving, keep thinking about the future, keep seeing how we can keep working on the dimension of creating value and sharing value with everyone.
And I think his advice is not only to his successor, but I guess to all of us. So on that note, Walter, thank you so much. Thank you so much for allowing us to write the case. Thank you so much for being us with you here today. I hope this enticed your appetite to read the case. I'm sure many schools will be using your case worldwide. On that note, let's thank Walter.
Thank you very much, guys.